Hey friends, I'm Megan, so glad you're here. We've got a great episode today. Let's get started.
Her relationship with him was a tapestry woven from moments of tenderness, shared dreams, and underlying tensions. From the outset, she was drawn to his warmth and the stability he offered, finding comfort in the connection that blossomed between them. Yet beneath the surface of their bond lay a secret that complicated the emotional landscape. Her crush on his brother. This hidden attraction was a quiet undercurrent, a thread that wove through her thoughts and feelings, creating a complex web of desire, guilt, and confusion. It was not a fleeting fancy but a persistent presence that challenged her understanding of love and loyalty. The brother, distinct yet intertwined with the man she was with, represented a different allure, an enigmatic blend of charisma, charm, and a magnetic personality that captivated her in ways she struggled to articulate. Her feelings for him were nuanced, layered with admiration and a sense of connection that felt both thrilling and forbidden. This duality created an internal conflict, as she grappled with the loyalty she owed to her partner and the intensity of her attraction to his brother. The secrecy of this crush added weight to her emotions, fueling anxiety and a fear of exposure that shadowed their interactions. The dynamics between the brothers themselves were a backdrop to her emotional turmoil. Their relationship was marked by camaraderie, rivalry, and a deep familial bond that complicated any potential romantic entanglements. The brothers shared histories and unspoken understandings, creating a complex social fabric that she was delicately navigating. Her presence and feelings introduced an element of tension and unpredictability, heightening the stakes of every interaction. The possibility of betrayal, misunderstanding, or conflict loomed, intensifying her inner struggle and the precarious balance of their relationships. Her relationship with her partner was characterized by moments of joy and connection, but also by subtle undercurrents of tension that she could not fully ignore. The knowledge of her secret crush created barriers to complete emotional honesty and intimacy. She found herself holding back parts of herself, crafting narratives that obscured the truth to preserve the fragile equilibrium. This withholding bred a sense of isolation and complexity, as she tried to reconcile her love for one man with her feelings for another. The duality of her heart became a silent burden, coloring her perceptions and interactions with both brothers. The social and familial context further complicated her emotions. The close-knit nature of the brothers' relationship meant that any shift in dynamics had ripple effects throughout their shared circles. She was acutely aware of the potential fallout, not only for her romantic relationship but for family harmony and friendships. This awareness intensified her fear of revelation and rejection, making secrecy both a refuge and a prison. The intertwining of love and family loyalty created a labyrinth of emotions and decisions that she was forced to navigate with caution and care. Her internal world was a landscape of contradictions: love and desire, loyalty and betrayal, hope and fear. She oscillated between moments of clarity and confusion, trying to understand the nature of her feelings and their implications. The intensity of her crush on the brother was both exhilarating and destabilizing, challenging her notions of fidelity and self-identity. She questioned the authenticity of her emotions, wondering if they were mere infatuation or something deeper and more enduring. This uncertainty fueled her emotional unrest and the complexity of her relational choices. Throughout this period, she sought to manage her feelings through reflection and restraint. She avoided situations that might expose her secret, carefully navigating interactions to minimize risk. This vigilance was exhausting, requiring emotional energy and strategic thinking that detracted from the joy and spontaneity of her relationships. The effort to maintain appearances and control her narrative was a constant source of stress, highlighting the toll that secrecy takes on the human psyche. Her desire for connection was often at odds with the need for discretion, creating a delicate balance that was difficult to sustain. Despite the challenges, she held on to hope for resolution and understanding. She envisioned a future where her feelings could be acknowledged without destruction, where love and loyalty might coexist despite the complexities. This hope was fragile but persistent, motivating her to navigate the emotional minefield with courage and care. She dreamed of clarity and peace, seeking ways to reconcile her heart's contradictions and find a path forward that honored both her desires and commitments. The complexity of her emotions and relationships was a reflection of the multifaceted nature of human love and attraction. Her story underscored the difficulties inherent in navigating desires that conflict with social norms and personal values. It revealed the pain and beauty of love's tangled webs, where clarity is elusive and choices carry profound consequences. Her experience was a testament to the challenges of honesty, vulnerability, and the search for authenticity in the face of emotional ambiguity. This chapter of her life was a crucible of feelings and decisions that set the stage for the unfolding drama. The secret crush, the intertwined relationships, and the emotional tensions created a charged atmosphere ripe for transformation and conflict. Her journey was marked by the interplay of fear and desire, secrecy and revelation, love and loss. The path ahead was uncertain and fraught with potential heartbreak, but it was also a journey toward self-discovery and emotional truth. Her experience highlighted the importance of communication, trust, and emotional courage in sustaining relationships. The barriers created by secrecy and unspoken feelings revealed the vulnerabilities that can undermine intimacy and connection. The narrative served as a poignant exploration of the human heart's complexities, inviting empathy and reflection. It set the foundation for the subsequent events that would challenge and redefine her understanding of love, loyalty, and identity. Ultimately, her story was one of navigating the delicate and often painful intersections of love and desire within a web of family ties. It was a journey that many can relate to. The experience of harboring feelings that complicate the relationships we cherish. The emotional terrain she traversed was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring quest for connection and authenticity amidst life's complexities. This chapter was the beginning of a story that would test the limits of love and loyalty and challenge the very notions of fidelity and truth. The moment she admitted her crush on his brother was a seismic rupture in the delicate fabric of their relationship, a confession born out of vulnerability and confusion but met with a shockwave of emotions that neither could fully control. This admission, initially intended as a moment of honesty or perhaps a cry for understanding, ignited a cascade of reactions that dismantled the trust and intimacy they had carefully cultivated. The immediate fallout was marked by silence, disbelief, and a palpable tension that hung heavily between them, altering the landscape of their connection irrevocably. The revelation pierced through the veneer of normalcy, exposing raw nerves and unspoken fears that had been simmering beneath the surface. His reaction was complex and multifaceted, shaped by feelings of betrayal, hurt, and confusion. The knowledge that the woman he loved harbored feelings for his own brother struck at the core of his sense of security and trust. He grappled with a profound sense of loss, not just of the relationship as it had been, but of the vision he had held for their future together. The confession shattered the illusion of exclusivity and loyalty, replacing it with doubt and suspicion. This emotional upheaval challenged his ability to process the situation rationally, leading to a withdrawal that was both protective and painful. The distance that grew was as much about preserving his dignity as it was about managing the shock. The emotional tension extended beyond the immediate dyad, reverberating through the familial and social networks that connected them. The brothers' relationship, already intricate and layered, became a source of added complexity and strain. The brother who was the object of her crush was thrust into an uncomfortable position. Caught between loyalty to his sibling and the unspoken dynamics that now permeated their interactions. The social fabric that once seemed stable now felt fragile and uncertain. As each person navigated the shifting allegiances and emotional fallout, the interconnectedness of their lives made the consequences of the confession unavoidable and far-reaching. The atmosphere between her and her partner became charged with unspoken resentment, hurt, and confusion. Communication faltered as both struggled to articulate their feelings without causing further damage. The confession had opened wounds that were raw and sensitive, making dialogue difficult and fraught with emotion. Attempts at conversation often devolved into misunderstandings and defensiveness, creating a feedback loop of pain and distance. The emotional intimacy that had characterized their relationship gave way to guardedness and withdrawal. Each interaction was a delicate dance, balancing the desire for connection with the fear of further hurt. Her own emotional landscape was turbulent, marked by regret, fear, and a yearning for resolution. The confession, while honest, had unleashed consequences she had not fully anticipated. She wrestled with guilt over the pain caused and anxiety about the future of their relationship. The vulnerability that had prompted her admission became a source of shame and self-doubt as she confronted the reality of its impact. This inner turmoil was compounded by the fear of losing both men, her partner and the brother who had captivated her heart. The emotional stakes were high, and the uncertainty about what lay ahead created a sense of desperation and confusion. The shift in their relationship dynamics was profound and unmistakable. The balance of trust and affection that had sustained them was disrupted, replaced by a fragile tension that permeated their interactions. The shared history and memories were now tinged with the knowledge of the confession, coloring their perceptions and emotions. This change created a space where suspicion and insecurity could flourish, undermining the foundation of their bond. The struggle to maintain connection amidst this upheaval was a testament to the complexity of human relationships and the challenges of navigating honesty and vulnerability. Social interactions outside their immediate relationship also reflected the tension and discomfort. Mutual friends and family members became aware, either directly or indirectly, of the confession and its ramifications. The social ripple effects created an environment where discretion was difficult, and gossip and judgment threatened to exacerbate the emotional strain. Navigating these external pressures added to the complexity of the situation. As they both contended with public perception and private pain, the social consequences underscored the interconnectedness of personal and communal experiences in shaping relational dynamics. The confession also forced a reckoning with questions of identity, loyalty, and desire. Both parties grappled with their understanding of love and commitment, challenged by the revelation of feelings that complicated their relationship. The interplay of attraction and loyalty created an emotional paradox that was difficult to resolve. This internal conflict highlighted the multifaceted nature of human emotions and the tensions inherent in navigating complex relationships. The struggle to reconcile these competing forces was central to the emotional narrative unfolding between them. Throughout this period, the emotional toll was significant. Both experienced moments of despair, anger, sadness, and longing. The intensity of their feelings reflected the depth of their connection and the magnitude of the rupture caused by the confession. The process of emotional processing was uneven, marked by fluctuations between hope for reconciliation and the fear of irrevocable loss. This volatility was a natural response to a situation fraught with uncertainty and emotional risk. The journey toward understanding and healing was just beginning. complicated by the layers of hurt and the intertwined nature of their relationships. The confession served as a catalyst for change, forcing both to confront realities that had been previously unspoken or ignored. It opened a space for reflection and reevaluation. Though the path forward was unclear and fraught with difficulty, the emotional landscape was altered, demanding new ways of relating and understanding. This moment was pivotal, setting in motion a series of events and decisions that would redefine their lives and connections. The complexity of the situation underscored the challenges of navigating love, desire, and honesty in intertwined relationships. In examining the immediate fallout, it becomes evident that the confession was not merely a revelation but a transformative event. It disrupted established patterns and forced a confrontation with painful truths. The emotional reverberations were profound, affecting not only the individuals involved but the broader network of relationships surrounding them. This chapter of their story highlights the fragile nature of trust and the delicate balance required to maintain intimacy. It serves as a poignant exploration of the consequences of honesty and the emotional risks inherent in revealing hidden desires. Ultimately, the confession marked a turning point, a moment of vulnerability that unleashed a torrent of emotions and challenges. It revealed the complexity of human connections and the difficulties of reconciling competing desires and loyalties. The aftermath was a landscape of uncertainty and pain, but also of potential growth and transformation. This chapter set the stage for the unfolding drama of loss, regret, and the quest for understanding that lay ahead. It is a powerful reminder of the cost of truth and the enduring struggle to navigate love's intricate web. The aftermath of her confession created an unraveling of the relationship that neither had anticipated, a gradual but relentless shift from closeness to distance that reshaped their lives and emotions. The initial shock gave way to a series of misunderstandings, silent treatments, and unspoken grievances that eroded the foundation they had built together. Communication, once the lifeblood of their connection, became strained and infrequent, as both struggled to navigate the complex emotions stirred by the revelation. The intimacy and trust that had characterized their bond now felt fragile and elusive, replaced by walls of defensiveness and pain. Each interaction was tinged with hesitation, as they tried to find footing in a landscape that had become uncertain and fraught with tension. As days turned into weeks, the emotional distance between them widened, creating a chasm filled with regret, anger, and confusion. Her partner wrestled with feelings of betrayal and loss, grappling with the idea that the woman he loved had harbored feelings for his own brother. This knowledge undermined his sense of security and trust, making it difficult for him to envision a future together without doubt. The brothers' presence loomed large in their shared narrative, a symbol of desire and division that complicated the path to reconciliation. His own emotional turmoil was compounded by a sense of helplessness, as he struggled to communicate his pain and understand her perspective. This emotional stalemate entrenched the divide, making resolution increasingly elusive. For her, the unraveling was a painful reckoning with the consequences of her honesty. The desire to be truthful had collided with the harsh realities of loss and alienation. She faced the disintegration of a relationship she had valued deeply, torn between the need to own her feelings and the desire to salvage what remained. The emotional weight was heavy, marked by loneliness and remorse. She found herself caught between hope for forgiveness and the stark recognition of the damage done. This internal conflict fueled a cycle of reflection and despair, as she sought to understand how a moment of vulnerability had led to such profound consequences. The social dynamics around them also shifted, as mutual friends and family sensed the tension and took sides or distanced themselves. The delicate balance of their shared social world was disrupted, amplifying feelings of isolation and vulnerability. The intertwining of romantic and familial relationships complicated efforts to navigate the fallout. As loyalties were tested and alliances realigned, this social ripple effect added layers of complexity to their emotional struggles, making the process of healing not only personal but communal. The awareness of external judgment and scrutiny heightened their sensitivity and inhibited open communication. The daily rhythms of their lives became permeated by uncertainty and unease. Shared spaces and routines that once fostered connection now felt charged with discomfort and avoidance. Simple interactions were fraught with unspoken tension, as both guarded their emotions and hesitated to breach the walls that had formed. This emotional paralysis was a testament to the depth of their hurt and the challenges of rebuilding trust after such a breach. The erosion of normalcy underscored the transformative impact of the confession, revealing how a single revelation could alter the fabric of daily life. As the relationship continued to unravel, both struggled with feelings of self-doubt and insecurity. She questioned her worth and the implications of her desires, wrestling with guilt and the fear of permanent loss. He grappled with feelings of inadequacy and betrayal, haunted by the thought that the foundation of their love had been compromised. These internal battles were mirrored in their external interactions, where frustration and sadness often replaced warmth and affection. The mutual pain created a cycle of distance and misunderstanding that was difficult to break. Further entrenching the divide, the unraveling also exposed the limitations of their emotional resilience and coping strategies. Both were confronted with the reality that love alone was insufficient to overcome the challenges posed by conflicting desires and shattered trust. The absence of effective communication and mutual empathy exacerbated their struggles, highlighting the importance of these elements in sustaining relationships. Their experience illustrated how vulnerability, while essential, can also expose relationships to profound risks if not met with understanding and care. The emotional turbulence underscored the fragility of intimacy in the face of betrayal and unresolved pain. Despite the deepening divide, moments of reflection and longing persisted. Both held on to memories of better times in the hope that healing might still be possible. These fleeting glimpses of connection fueled ambivalence, as they oscillated between the desire to reconcile and the recognition of irreparable damage. This emotional ambivalence was a source of inner conflict, complicating decisions about the future and prolonging the process of separation. The tension between hope and despair was a defining feature of this chapter, reflecting the complexity of human attachment and loss. The unraveling was also a catalyst for profound personal growth. The challenges forced both to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves, their needs, and their limitations. They were compelled to reevaluate their understanding of love, loyalty, and commitment, gaining insights that would shape their future relationships. This period of turmoil, while painful, became a crucible for transformation, fostering greater self-awareness and emotional maturity. The lessons learned from this unraveling laid the groundwork for healing and renewal beyond the immediate crisis. As the relationship continued its downward trajectory, the inevitability of separation became increasingly clear. The emotional distance and unresolved conflicts signaled that the partnership was no longer sustainable in its current form. This realization, while painful, offered a form of clarity and closure, allowing both to begin envisioning lives apart. The process of letting go was fraught with sorrow and fear, but it also opened space for new beginnings and personal liberation. The unraveling, therefore, was both an ending and a prelude to future growth. This chapter of their story is a vivid illustration of the complexities inherent in navigating intertwined relationships and hidden desires. It reveals the fragility of trust and the challenges of maintaining intimacy in the face of Emotional upheaval. The unraveling underscores the necessity of honesty, empathy, and communication as pillars of healthy relationships. It also serves as a poignant reminder of the human capacity for both pain and resilience, charting a course through heartbreak toward eventual healing. Ultimately, the unraveling was a pivotal chapter that redefined their lives and connections. It was marked by loss, struggle, and profound emotional challenge, but also by the potential for growth and transformation. The journey through this turbulent time illuminated the depths of human emotion and the intricate dance of love, loyalty, and truth. It set the stage for the difficult but necessary process of separation and self-discovery that lay ahead, shaping the narrative of loss and renewal that would continue to unfold. The loss of the main man was a profound and defining moment that reshaped her emotional landscape and shattered the life she had known. The breakup was not merely a physical separation but a rupture that resonated through every aspect of her being. It was a culmination of the emotional unraveling that followed her confession. A moment when the fragile threads holding them together finally gave way. The finality of the loss brought with it an overwhelming flood of emotions. Grief, regret, loneliness, and a deep sense of emptiness. The man who had once been her partner, confidant, and love was now gone, leaving behind a void that seemed impossible to fill. The emotional impact was immediate and intense. She was engulfed by sorrow and a profound sense of abandonment. The dreams and plans they had shared dissolved into memories tinged with pain and longing. The loss was not only of a relationship but of a future envisioned together, of shared hopes and promises. This shattering of her emotional world forced her into a state of mourning, as she grappled with the reality that the life she had imagined was no longer attainable. The weight of this grief was compounded by the circumstances of the breakup, colored by betrayal and complicated feelings that made healing more difficult. In addition to losing the main man, she faced the painful reality of losing both brothers, the very people who had been central to her emotional world. The confession that triggered the breakup had created fissures not only in her romantic relationship but also in her connections with the brothers she had admired. The intertwined nature of their relationships meant that the fallout extended beyond the romantic, severing bonds that had been meaningful and significant. This dual loss magnified her sense of isolation and despair, as she found herself cut off from both men who had held important places in her heart. The magnitude of this loss was staggering, deepening her emotional wounds. The consequences of this separation rippled through her daily life, altering her routines, social circles, and sense of identity. The absence of the man she loved was felt in the quiet moments and the spaces they once shared. The routines that had once brought comfort now served as reminders of what was lost. Social gatherings became fraught with absence, as mutual friends navigated shifting loyalties and awkward dynamics. Her sense of self, which had been closely linked to her relationship, was destabilized, prompting a reevaluation of who she was outside the context of love and family. The loss triggered a profound identity crisis, challenging her to redefine her place in the world. The emotional fallout extended to feelings of guilt and self-recrimination. She questioned her decisions and the moment of honesty that had precipitated such devastation. The burden of responsibility for the breakup weighed heavily, as she grappled with the consequences of her actions and their impact on multiple lives. This self-blame was intertwined with sorrow and longing, creating a complex emotional tapestry that was difficult to unravel. The struggle to forgive herself was a central theme in her grief, complicating the path toward healing and acceptance. Her connection with the brother she had crushed on was similarly affected. The emotional ties that had drawn her to him were now overshadowed by the fractured relationships and the fallout from the confession. The possibility of any future connection with him seemed remote. as the dynamics between the brothers and herself had been irrevocably altered. This loss of potential compounded her sense of regret and loneliness, closing doors that had once seemed open and promising. The emotional landscape was marked by absence and yearning, as she mourned not only what was lost but what could never be. The breakup and its aftermath also brought to light the complexities of love and loyalty within family dynamics. The entanglement of romantic and familial bonds created a web of emotions and conflicts that were difficult to navigate. The interplay of desire, betrayal, and loyalty underscored the fragility of relationships and the challenges inherent in balancing competing emotional allegiances. This chapter of loss highlighted the intricate and often painful intersections of love, family, and identity, revealing the vulnerabilities and complexities of human connection. The experience forced her to confront the reality of life without the men who had been central to her emotional world. The process of adjusting to this new reality was fraught with pain and uncertainty. She faced the challenge of rebuilding her life and sense of self in the absence of those she loved. This adjustment required resilience and courage, as she navigated the emotional terrain of separation and loss. The journey was marked by moments of despair and hope, as she sought to find meaning and purpose beyond the heartbreak. The social implications of the breakup further complicated her recovery. The shared social networks, friendships, and family ties were affected by the rift, creating an environment of tension and change. Navigating these social complexities required sensitivity and strength, as she encountered reminders of her loss in the lives of others. The dissolution of relationships extended beyond the romantic, touching every facet of her social world. This ripple effect underscored the interconnectedness of human relationships and the profound impact of personal decisions. Despite the depth of her loss, this chapter also planted seeds for growth and transformation. The experience of losing both men forced her to confront difficult truths and reevaluate her priorities and values. It opened the door to self-reflection and the possibility of healing. The pain of loss became a catalyst for change, prompting her to seek new paths and opportunities for connection and fulfillment. This period marked a turning point, where grief and regret were met with the first stirrings of resilience and hope. Her journey through loss illuminated the human capacity for endurance and renewal. The emotional devastation she faced was profound, yet within it lay the potential for rebirth. The process of grieving and letting go, while painful, was necessary for growth and transformation. This chapter of her life was a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the possibility of finding light in the aftermath of darkness. It marked the beginning of a new chapter defined by healing, self-discovery, and the pursuit of a life rebuilt from the fragments of loss. Ultimately, the loss of the main man and the brother was a defining moment that reshaped her emotional landscape and life trajectory. It was a chapter marked by profound sorrow, complex emotions, and the challenge of navigating intertwined relationships fractured by honesty and vulnerability. Yet, it was also a chapter of transformation and hope, laying the foundation for personal growth and the search for new beginnings. This experience underscored the intricate and fragile nature of love and family in the enduring quest for connection and understanding amidst life's complexities. The period of grief and regret that followed the loss of both men was an emotional crucible that tested her resilience and forced her into deep self-reflection. The pain of separation was not just about the absence of the men themselves, but also about the shattering of dreams, trust, and the identity she had built around these relationships. The emotional weight she carried was heavy, a mix of sorrow, guilt, confusion, and longing that permeated her daily existence. This chapter of her life was defined by the rawness of loss and the complex process of coming to terms with what had been and what could never be again. Her grief was profound and multifaceted. It encompassed not only the heartbreak of losing her partner but also the ache of losing the brother, the object of her unspoken affection. This dual loss created a void that felt overwhelming and inescapable. She experienced waves of sadness that washed over her unexpectedly, triggered by memories, reminders, or the simple reality of loneliness. The depth of her sorrow was a testament to the significance of these relationships and the extent to which they had shaped her life. Grieving became both a burden and a necessary process, a path through which she could begin to heal. Intertwined with her grief was a persistent sense of regret. She reflected on the choices and confessions that had led to this painful outcome, questioning what might have been if different decisions had been made or words left unsaid. This reflection was a double-edged sword. While it provided insight and understanding, it also amplified feelings of guilt and self-blame. The awareness of her role in the unraveling of relationships weighed heavily, leading to internal struggles with forgiveness and acceptance. The interplay of regret and responsibility was a central theme in her emotional journey. Her internal dialogue was often marked by questioning and doubt. She pondered the nature of love, loyalty, and desire, grappling with the complexities that had defined her relationships. The emotional turmoil challenged her to reconcile conflicting feelings of affection and attraction, commitment and betrayal. This cognitive and emotional dissonance was exhausting and disorienting, forcing her to confront uncomfortable truths about herself and the people she cared for. The process of untangling these feelings was arduous but essential for her growth and healing. Social isolation compounded her emotional struggles. The loss of connections with both men altered her social environment, creating gaps in her network of support and belonging. Friends and family, aware of the fallout, sometimes distanced themselves or responded with judgment, leaving her feeling further isolated. This social alienation intensified her loneliness and made the path to recovery more challenging. The absence of a robust support system underscored the importance of connection and empathy in times of grief. She had to learn to seek and build new sources of support and understanding. Her grief also manifested physically and mentally, impacting her overall well-being. Sleepless nights, changes in appetite, and moments of deep despair reflected the toll that emotional pain can take on the body and mind. She faced challenges in maintaining daily routines and finding motivation for activities that once brought joy. These symptoms were part of the natural process of mourning but required attention and care to navigate healthily. The journey through grief highlighted the interconnectedness of emotional and physical health and the need for holistic approaches to healing. Throughout this time, she sought meaning and understanding in her experience. The loss and regret prompted existential questions about the nature of relationships, fate, and personal growth. She explored philosophical and spiritual perspectives that offered comfort and insight, helping her frame her pain within a broader context of human experience. This search for meaning was a vital part of her healing, providing a sense of hope and direction amid the chaos of emotions. It allowed her to reimagine her life and relationships with greater depth and compassion. The process of mourning also opened pathways for personal transformation. As she confronted her pain and regrets, she began to develop greater self-awareness and emotional maturity. She learned to accept her imperfections and the complexities of human relationships, cultivating empathy for herself and others. This growth fostered resilience, enabling her to face the future with a renewed sense of strength and possibility. The emotional trials of this period became catalysts for profound inner change, shaping her into a wiser and more compassionate individual. Reflection on her experiences also led to a reevaluation of her values and priorities. The losses she endured underscored the importance of honesty, trust, and respect in relationships. She recognized the need for clear communication and emotional openness as foundations for healthy connections. These insights informed her vision for future relationships, guiding her toward patterns that fostered mutual support and understanding. The lessons learned from regret and grief became invaluable tools for building a more authentic and fulfilling life. Her journey through grief was not linear but marked by fluctuations between despair and hope. There were moments of deep sorrow and moments of clarity and optimism. This ebb and flow reflected the natural process of healing and the complex interplay of emotions involved. She learned to be patient with herself and to embrace the full spectrum of her feelings without judgment. This acceptance was a crucial step toward emotional recovery and well-being. Support from therapy, friends, and self-help resources played an important role in her healing. Engaging in conversations with trusted individuals provided validation and perspective, helping her process complex emotions. Therapeutic practices offered coping strategies and tools for managing grief and building resilience. The combination of professional and personal support created a nurturing environment that facilitated growth and recovery. This network became a lifeline during the most challenging phases of her journey. Throughout her process of grief and regret, she also discovered the power of forgiveness. Not only forgiving others but forgiving herself. This act of compassion was transformative, allowing her to release burdens of guilt and resentment that hindered healing. Forgiveness became a pathway to peace and freedom, opening her heart to the possibility of new beginnings. Embracing forgiveness was a profound milestone in her emotional journey, symbolizing acceptance and hope. Ultimately, this chapter of grief and regret was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Despite the depth of her pain and the complexity of her emotions, she found ways to endure, learn, and grow. Her experience highlighted the universal nature of loss and the potential for healing through reflection, support, and self-compassion. This period, while painful, laid the foundation for renewal and the pursuit of a life enriched by wisdom and emotional strength. Her story during this time was one of navigating the darkest valleys of human experience, emerging with greater clarity and courage. The losses she faced reshaped her understanding of love and relationships, deepening her empathy and insight. This chapter was a vital part of her journey, a bridge between heartbreak and the hope of a brighter future. It underscored the enduring capacity for healing and transformation that lies within us all. Even in the wake of profound loss, the journey of moving forward after the profound losses and emotional turmoil was a complex and deeply personal transformation that required courage, patience, and a willingness to embrace change. She embarked on a path of healing that was not linear but marked by moments of clarity, setbacks, and gradual growth. This phase of her life was characterized by a conscious effort to redefine herself beyond the shadow of past mistakes and heartbreaks, seeking to build a future grounded in self-awareness, resilience, and hope. The process involved reclaiming her identity, rebuilding trust in herself and others, and cultivating a new vision for love and connection. Central to her recovery was the practice of self-compassion. She learned to treat herself with kindness and understanding, recognizing that healing from deep emotional wounds takes time and that perfection is neither attainable nor necessary. This shift from self-judgment to self-care was foundational in restoring her sense of worth and dignity. By embracing her vulnerabilities and imperfections, she cultivated inner peace and a more nurturing relationship with herself. This transformation enabled her to face the challenges of moving on with greater strength and optimism, fostering a renewed sense of agency over her life. In rebuilding her social and emotional world, she sought connections that reflected her evolving values and needs. She prioritized relationships grounded in mutual respect, empathy, and open communication, learning from past experiences about the importance of these qualities. This intentional approach helped her create a supportive network that bolstered her emotional well-being and provided a sense of belonging. Engaging with friends, family, and new acquaintances, she found opportunities for meaningful interaction and shared growth. These connections became a source of joy and stability, reinforcing her resilience and capacity for love. Her professional and personal pursuits also played a crucial role in her transformation. Investing time and energy in passions, career goals, and creative outlets nurtured her sense of purpose and fulfillment. These activities provided avenues for self-expression and accomplishment beyond the realm of romantic relationships. The successes and progress she achieved, whether big or small, were affirmations of her capabilities and growth. Engaging in these pursuits contributed to a balanced and enriched life, supporting her emotional recovery and inspiring confidence in her ability to shape her future. The evolution of her perspective on love and relationships was another hallmark of this chapter. She developed a deeper understanding of the complexities of human connection, recognizing that love requires honesty, trust, respect, and vulnerability. Her experiences taught her the significance of boundaries and the courage to communicate openly and authentically. This wisdom guided her approach to future relationships, fostering healthier dynamics and a commitment to mutual support. She embraced vulnerability as a strength, allowing herself to form connections that honored her growth and fostered emotional safety. Throughout this process, forgiveness remained a pivotal element of her healing. Forgiving others, including those who had hurt her, as well as forgiving herself for past mistakes, was transformative. This act of compassion liberated her from the burdens of resentment and guilt, opening space for peace and emotional freedom. Forgiveness was not about forgetting or excusing pain but about releasing its hold and choosing healing over suffering. Embracing forgiveness enriched her emotional landscape and deepened her capacity for empathy and love. The journey also involved cultivating hope and embracing uncertainty. She learned to balance acceptance of the past with openness to the possibilities of the future. This mindset allowed her to navigate life's unpredictability with grace and resilience, maintaining optimism even amid challenges. She recognized that healing is an ongoing process, requiring patience and self-kindness. This perspective fostered a sense of empowerment and readiness to engage fully with life's experiences. Her story during this period highlighted the interplay of loss and renewal, pain and growth. The profound hardships she endured became catalysts for transformation, shaping a more authentic and grounded self. The journey underscored the resilience of the human spirit and the potential for joy and fulfillment beyond heartbreak. It celebrated the capacity to rebuild and redefine one's life with courage and intention. Ultimately, this chapter marked a new beginning, a reclaiming of life and self after loss. She stepped forward with a heart enriched by experience, a mind sharpened by reflection, and a spirit buoyed by hope. Her transformation was a testament to the enduring power of healing and the human capacity to find meaning and connection in the aftermath of pain. This chapter closed the story of heartbreak and opened the narrative of growth, possibility, and renewed love.
Thanks for watching. It means a lot. Share the video, and I'll see you soon.